I finally started maining a glass mousepad, and I can confidently say I was pretty wrong about a lot of stuff. And in this video, I'm going to tell you guys the story about how I've been using one, what I've been using it for, and by the end of the video, I'm going to tell you guys about how I've been using it to make my aim better than it was before. Now, welcome to Shotty's Yap Session, episode 11. If you're new to this series, this is perfect background noise. I kind of just yap in your ear about different topics, and we chill together. Now, on Monday last week, I bought a glass mousepad, and it was a spur of the moment decision because I really wanted one, but I was just like, glass. I'm starting to play Valorant again. Who needs glass? You know, it's just going to be a detriment to my aim. And in some ways, it was, but I loved it. I've used hard pads in the past before. I really liked hard pads, but my complaint always was that it had no control. It had no way of actually stopping the shakiness of my aim, or if I wanted to stop, I wasn't able to fully stop on a dime like I could with cloth. So in that way, cloth was winning a lot of points in my mind. I couldn't justify the switch from cloth over to glass or a hard pad, but I finally purchased the SkyPad 4.0. Now, I'm not sponsored. This isn't like a sponsored video. This isn't me telling you go buy one. This is just my experience with one, but it was great. The big thing I love about glass mouse pads, and I always loved about hard pads, is when I was on Xbox, we used to always talk trash about the PC players. We'd say, oh, well, you guys just have to point and click. You guys, all you do is point and click. And then I built my own PC. I got on PC and I was like, well, this is kind of point and click, but not as much as I thought it was. But now it really does feel like point and click. I sit there, I load up on this mouse pad, and it just feels easy. It feels like where I move in real life is exactly where it's going in game. It feels like a perfect one-to-one comparison. And I started experimenting with, speaking of one-to-one comparisons, I made it so this mouse pad is 45 centimeters in width. I believe it is. So I made my my overall sensitivity 90 centimeters. And the reason why is I want to be able to do exactly 180 with this sensitivity, because in my eyes, that feels one-to-one. That would be very one-to-one to what I'm doing in real life. Now, it's actually 47 centimeters, but I purposely undershot it a little bit so I wouldn't have to go end-to-end to do a flick, you know what I mean, or to do a 180. And for games that don't require lots of 180s, bro, I love it. It's so perfect. It feels so like one-to-one. It feels so right. Now, of course, obviously, I'm not saying go do this. I'm not saying this is like groundbreaking news. This is just something I'm experimenting with. And speaking of experimenting, I have been messing with Kovacs so much, and I'm gonna go for GM and Celestial and all that soon. I'm waiting for my new mouse, and I'm also waiting for, you know, more time. But once I do get all that set up, I'm going to start grinding game training a lot more because I want to hit higher ranks just to prove a point. But it's a lot of fun. I learned so much doing it. I've learned so much with Kovacs maps because I made my own, and I started making my own playlists, which I'm gonna make a new video about it soon. I made a Valorant playlist, or just in general attack shooter playlist, because I just recently got back into Valorant, and I was like, I hate this, because obviously when you first get back into games like Valorant, your big issue isn't your aim, it's your movement and your aim syncing up. Or like me, you just sit there and see somebody, you panic shoot like a chimp. I can't control myself. I can't help myself. But after all the panic shooting was over, I realized that I'm not even, like the targets in this game are much smaller than they are in Kovacs. So why on earth am I practicing Kovacs with such massive targets? So I made a few maps. I made maps that train a lot of different skills in Valorant. And I made a map that is basically, in my eyes, one-to-one or very close to the size of headshot in Valorant, or at least from a distance. Now, honestly, it's really hard. It's like really tiny targets, but I'll tell you guys all about it another time. And if you are interested in that, make sure you guys leave a comment down below telling me about it, and I'll rush out the video for you guys. But the glass mouse pad in Valorant was an experience. The only complaint I have about glass mouse pads is if you've ever had one, sometimes if dust gets under your skates or dust gets on the mouse pad, it makes the most obscene noise I've ever heard. It's dreadful to listen to, and it feels like you're playing air hockey whenever your mouse is like on top of a piece of dust, because your mouse is almost like flying, and it's really annoying. But other than that, honestly, no complaints. Now, would I recommend most people to get a glass mouse pad? No, absolutely not. Most normal people shouldn't. And the reason why is I think glass mouse pads are only good if you have a pretty good level of mouse control already. Actually, I think Matty OW said it. He was talking about in his review of the SkyPad 4. I think he said something about how in target switching, if you already develop the skill to stop your mouse without using the friction of a mouse pad, it's great. If you can't do that, it's dreadful, because you're basically going to overshoot and you won't really have that stopping power power that you need. I've basically never used like a mouse pad to help me stop. I've never done the pushing down into it, really. I've never done much of that. I used to when I first started aim training, but in my more recent journeys, I kind of buffed out that habit. Now, speaking of aim training journeys as well, bro, I have used this to get my aim better so quickly. Specifically, my smoothness, my shakiness, and overall my general control. Because this mouse pad is similar to abusing high sensitivity, where in high sensitivity, if you use it a lot, you have less control over your mouse and you have to develop that control, that shakiness, you have to buff it out, you have to do all that. This mouse pad makes 60 cm feel fast, and it's great because it really will work on my shakiness, and it really helped me a lot with my shakiness because shakiness was a big problem of mine, and it still is, especially in my wrist. I think using my wrist, like aiming it right, is really hard for me, but this is really helping with it because either I'm gonna bot frag every single game or I'm gonna learn how to deal with it, and this gives me a different experience. It gives me a different level of training that I'm not used to, and I've noticed that it's made my aim feel really good really fast. Now, do I also think you should go spend a whole bunch of money and just waste it on, oh, let's go get a glass mouse pad to boost my aim? God, please don't. Do what Boardsy did. Take a wood table, spray some pledge on it, and then rub it in, and then play with that. You'll be playing air hockey if you really want to do like hard mode practice. But also, to specifically improve my aim, I didn't just play, or I didn't just aim train. I would focus more on my precision more than I ever really did. In aim training and in normal maps, I kind of just play to play. I didn't really think about it much. But when I was using this glass mouse pad, I was really focusing on, okay, my biggest issue is either I'm not micro adjusting because I don't really want to because I know my aim is too shaky, or I'm micro adjusting and I have no control over it, so I'm just flicking around. So I would identify those problems and I would work on it. Like I'd go into DMs, I'd go into TDMs and only go for targets that are 100% accurate, or I'd only tap fire, or I'd only burst and all this, and things like that really focused on what I was bad at with the mouse. Now, I wasn't bad at tracking, so I didn't really play much tracking. I didn't practice much tracking because my tracking was excellent with this glass mouse pad. It felt way better, obviously because of the dynamic friction and all that, but it was amazing. My strong suit though, which was clicking, was not cooked, but it was getting there. It was kind of tough for me. It was really like, I don't know, you have to relearn certain things whenever you use a glass mouse pad, because whenever you're moving between targets, that's the hard part with a glass mouse pad. It's almost like it's so floaty that you might veer off of a straight line, or you might veer off of going from one target to another, when normally I'm so used to being able to make those controlled movements from one to another. With a glass mouse pad, I kind of make like squiggly lines, you know what I mean? And that was something that I had to really work on, so I'd practice that as well. Now, obviously, I'm going to update you guys whenever I hit GM or whatever other journeys I make, but this glass mouse pad is awesome, dude. It feels so good. That one-to-one experience is amazing. Also, if you're gonna get one, please buy a sleeve. I have like the Pulsar sleeve I'm trying out, a few other things. Just get a sleeve. You might look like a dork. If you have a wife, she might embarrass you. It's okay. You'll live, all right? Anything for the gains. I mean, listen, if you're embarrassed about wearing a sleeve, you watch my videos, okay? And one other thing, from now on, I think I'm going to shift the Yap sessions to something like this, because I wanted to get that 2025 video out. That 2025 video is basically all the information most people will need and all the information I really have right now. So I just wanted to compress that, make it a good video, make it all in one place. Now I can share that to people, for people to watch, people to learn from, all that. But now I'm kind of going to use the Yap sessions as my aim journey, talking about it, teaching you guys all that. Anyways, here's how to get insane aim by 2025, and here's my coaching. Have a good one, everyone. God bless you.